Hello and welcome to Instant Insights. At GlobalData Strategic Intelligence, we track over 100 tech, industry, ESG, and macro themes impacting all major sectors. I'm Emma Sturdee, and today I'm joined by Hannah and Alice from GlobalData's Consumer Division. They have both recently written a report on their predictions for the consumer industry for 2025. So, welcome, guys. Thanks for coming. I'd like to start off with, what do you think will be the key consumer trends in 2025?
So thanks for having us on the podcast. In consumer, we've seen that many of the top trends this year will centre around concepts of power. So media attention on GLP-1 drugs and ultra-processed foods, alongside a kind of ongoing holistic wellness discourse, really place a growing emphasis on total control of mental and physical health. And then in technology, things like applications of AI and the kind of ever-changing dynamics of social platforms are pivoting the ownership of certain narratives around products and brands. And then additionally, we have a growing climate crisis and shifting sands in kind of geopolitical landscapes that are also impacting supply chains and consumer behaviours both socially and environmentally.
Thank you. You mentioned AI. How do you think technology will impact the consumer sector this year?
We will see challenges and opportunities for technology in consumer. AI in particular is revolutionising innovation and our service capabilities, particularly for the consumer health journey. It's giving consumers more accurate and precise over-the-counter supplements, as well as tracking and data insights for meeting these specific health targets, such as weight loss. But the challenge will be demonstrating that personal nutrition technology can actually be trusted to make these visible changes. Although we have seen this year how energy and water intensive that AI has become. As we move further into a climate crisis, knowing the impact that the industry is making through using AI, consumers may see their own attempts to consume more sustainably as just a drop in the water. And also there will be a push for brands to provide genuinely sustainable use cases in AI. For example, the UK retailer Tesco has utilised AI analytics to make energy savings through temperature control systems.
Thank you. That's really interesting. And in terms of more geopolitics, how do you think the return of President Trump will impact the consumer sector this year?
Well, so kind of talking to some of the sort of consumer trends that we were looking at in terms of health and sustainability, there has been a suggestion that Trump's administration will push deregulation with regards to health and sustainability policy, potentially kind of disrupting brands' efforts to meet targets in these kind of areas. But consumers may ultimately still turn to brands for progress in the absence of governmental responsibility. That said, the kind of more pressing concerns that I think brands are sort of thinking about at the moment are the impact of tariffs on consumer wallets, and more broadly, those kind of geopolitical tensions with the US's trading partners are going to push brands to make those kind of contingency plans for more agile supply chains, so driving more reliance on things like data analytics technology to kind of optimize those operational costs. In a kind of different angle to the sort of Trump administration as well, we've seen how there's more prevalent disinformation since the US election campaign, which indicates that brands will also have to focus on owning certain narratives, especially on social media. So brands that accurately or inaccurately become affiliated with political figures have been subject to boycotts, while claims that for example, we had Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s suggestion that US Fruit Loops contain 18 to 19 more ingredients than Canadian versions of the product would actually kind of contribute to sort of eroding consumer trust in product safety and quality. So whatever this kind of new administration throws consumer brands' way this year, they will have to be really dynamic and savvy in their response, particularly in digital spaces.
Thank you. And in regard to socio-demographic changes, do you think this will have any impact on the consumer industry this year as well?
Yeah, so there are a variety of social and economic developments making the needs of different demographics more diverse. So medical breakthroughs such as GLP-1 drugs have disrupted the fundamental relationships that society has with consumption overall. And then the pressures on public services such as ageing populations and the rising levels of obesity will push brands in the food, beverage and health industries to provide more sophisticated and powerful products and services that help overcome these challenges and improve consumer lifestyles as a result. And also, we think that Gen Z will continue to be the most disruptive generation with more purchasing power in 2025 and beyond. This will continue to impact how brands communicate and engage with more socially conscious and yet divided consumers, which is again one of the more powerful impacts with things like consumer boycotts, forcing brands to take a clear stance on this.
Thank you. I think that's all we have time for today, but thank you for all of your insights and for coming on to the podcast.
Thanks for listening, and from us in Strategic Intelligence, see you next time.